So guess what? I ate my word. Yes, I ate my word, guys. I'm saying this because, I swore that I would never buy another Dolby Atmos receiver that only has two high channels. And here I am with one sitting on my desk, well, not my desk, my kitchen table, another Dolby Atmos receiver with only two high channels. Anyway, welcome to the channel. If you have never been here before, my name is Owen, and this is where I talk about audio. Audio as it relates to home theater, and audio, in terms of stereo, left and right stereo, hi-fi stereo. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So what I have here in front of me is the Denon surround sound receiver. It's a 5.2.2 receiver. It's the AVR S750H. And I saw someone in my neighborhood selling this one, selling in it. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to purchase it and try Dolby Atmos again. I'm going to try the two high channels and see if I can really squeeze something out of those high channels. Because the problem that I've had in the past is the fact that I was very dissatisfied with all the Dolby Atmos receivers that I've purchased in the past. Mainly because, for the most part, I was not getting anything out of the high channels. It didn't matter how much I calibrate my sound. It didn't matter how much I don't know. I mean, and I had quite a few Blu-ray disc, 4K disc with Dolby Atmos, but I just wasn't getting anything. I have a good friend who is in home theater, and I listened to his system over the summer, and he's getting good stuff. He's getting, fairly decent sound from his high channels, and he has only two. So, I said to myself, I'm going to try this again. So here I am, I pick up another, 7.2 or 5.2.2 receiver, just to try again. Now, my cop out is with this receiver is if I'm still dissatisfied, I'm gonna use those two high channels for a second zone for music listening. And I'm just gonna go to 5.2, right? I'm running a 5.2 system in my 5.1, in my home theater system right now, and I'm quite happy with it. Except that I have spoken about that receiver before, a receiver that I really love. It means a lot to me, but it's old. The connections are outdated. Even though the sound quality is still good, it's one of those digital receivers. Early digital receivers, Class D amp from Panasonic, low profile. Yeah. And even though it still works and it is still good, and I like the sound, but I'm very limited as it relates to connection. For example, it doesn't have HDMI. There's no HDMI. So I have to do a workaround to kind of, get HDMI. Yeah, I have to do a lot of workaround. So here I am with another receiver. So I'm just going to go through the specs, a little bit so you can get an idea of what it's all about. And I purchased it for, a couple of reasons. Like I said, one, if it doesn't work out in terms of in terms of my satisfaction as it relates to Dolby Atmos and those two high channels, I'm just going to use those two extra outputs for a set, for music listening in a different zone in my house. All right, so the specs on this. Dolby Atmos DTSX 7.2. Of course, we can do 5.2.2. 4K 60 HDR LG. I like the fact that it does high-res audio, because not only am I in home theater audio, but I'm also in 2-channel audio, and this does high-res audio. It does Wi-Fi, it does Bluetooth, it does AirPlay. Spotify is inside, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Tidal is also inside. It has a phono input, and that was something that I was really impressed with, that this has a phono input. So I have a turntable in my setup, and so I'll be able to hook up my turntable to this. I mean, guys, I think I've made a video in the past about using these things for music. There's no harm in using these home theater receivers for music. They're very versatile. They have all the connections that you could ever want. It's just that, for the average person, they can be a little bit more complicated. So, but because I'm familiar with, all of this kind of tech, I'm comfortable doing that. Yeah, so we have Dolby Vision. It supports Dolby Vision, and what else? HEOS. That's a Denon thing. It supports Alexa, so I can speak to this thing, and if I have an Alexa piece of equipment, or should I say a device that supports Alexa in my house, I can connect this up to it. It also supports AirPlay 2, which is an Apple thing. All right. On the front here, I have HDMI in, and I have USB input. Yeah. So it's a fairly it's not a new receiver. I'm not sure when this was released. But the specs are decent. It's okay. I'm just going to turn it around and probably hold it up. I'm not sure how long I can hold this up, but let me just turn it around so you can have a look at it. Let's hope that my camera will focus on it. I'm not sure if the camera is doing any justice. Yeah. So, but anyway, this is it. And let me turn around the back so you can see the back again. So this is the back. Let's hope the camera is focusing. I'm not sure. Yeah. All right. So the other thing I really like about these receivers is that they are, or at least this one in particular. I mean, I've owned a lot of receivers that are network capable, but this one, it's fully network capable. All right. On the back here, you'll see the Wi-Fi antennas. Probably one might be Wi-Fi and the other might be Bluetooth. I'm not sure, but there are two antennas at the back here. And of course, it has the Ethernet connection if I choose to do cable. Yeah. So another thing that my old receiver can't do is like to do ARC and eARC, and this one supports at least this one support. It supports both ARC and eARC. Yeah, so it's not a top of the line receiver per se, but for my little setup, in terms of surround sound, you know, this is quite adequate. And you know, like I said, I saw someone selling this in my neighborhood, and I said to myself, you know what, let me give it a shot again. So I'm going to hook this up. I'm going to put it into my system not too long from now. You know, integrate it into my system and you know, install those high channels again, and we'll see how things go. Yeah, so it's the Denon AVR S750H. A fairly decent receiver, and I'll give you a little bit of update, you know, as to how it works out. So there it is. I kind of ate my word, so to speak. You know, ate my word, but that's the way it is sometimes. You know, they said you should never say never. Never say never. And so, you know, I'm sure you will cut me a little bit of slack. Yes, all right. So I'm gonna try this receiver again. You know, I'm not a person for diving deep into specs. All right. This is not a review of this receiver per se because I haven't even used it yet, but I'm familiar with most of what this receiver offers. You know, because I have used receivers with similar specs before, but I just got rid of them because of the whole Dolby Atmos high channel debacle that was just frustrating me. You know, I think I've owned at least 4 Dolby Atmos receivers already, and every time I get so frustrated, I just sell. I just sell them, and I would sell them and just go back to my old you know, ancient one that I have down there. But anyway, I think I'm going to keep this one for some time. You know, it's modern. It has all the amenities that that I like. Of course, you know, the channels are limited, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works. All right. So the Denon AVR S750H. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And, you know, if you like these kind of videos where we talk about audio as it relates to home theater and 2-channel, give me a thumbs up. And, you know, if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to subscribe. And, you know, until the next video, you take care of yourself. Best wishes for the new year. Okay?